They told you marriage was the finish line. They told you that if you waited long enough, loved hard enough, and sacrificed enough of yourself, happiness would be waiting on the other side of that ring. But here's the truth no one dares to say out loud. Many women over 35 secretly regret marriage. Not because they hate love, not because they despise their partner, but because the version of marriage they signed up for was never built to serve them. This isn't about bitterness. This isn't about cynicism. This is about clarity. And today, I'm going to break down 7 hidden regrets that women over 35 carry inside their marriages. Regrets they'll never admit publicly, but that quietly eat away at them every single day. I want you to hear this not as judgment, but as truth spoken in your defense. Because when you name something, you take back power over it. Regret of lost identity. One of the biggest regrets women over 35 carry in marriage, but rarely speak about, is the regret of losing themselves. It starts quietly, almost invisibly. At first, you are a woman with a name, a story, passions, and ambitions. You have your own dreams, your own voice, your own sense of self. But somewhere along the road, that woman begins to fade. She gets replaced with titles: wife, mother, caretaker, roles that are valuable, yes, but roles that often swallow up the person inside them. I once heard a woman share something that broke my heart. She said, "I honestly can't remember the last time someone asked me about my dreams. Not about my kids' future, not about my husband's goals, but mine." She laughed as she said it, the way people laugh to make pain sound lighter. But her eyes gave her away. Behind them was sadness, exhaustion, and a quiet longing to be seen again as herself, not just as somebody else's support system. This is the trap of identity loss in marriage. Society has conditioned women, especially once children come into the picture, to merge completely with the family unit. It teaches them that their worth is measured by how much they give, how much they sacrifice, how much they hold everything together. Their time, their energy, their individuality becomes currency to keep the household running smoothly, and the world applauds them for it. People call them strong, selfless, dependable. But inside, many women feel invisible. The tragedy is that this kind of loss doesn't happen in one dramatic moment. It's slow, like sand slipping through your fingers. One day you skip the hobby you loved because the kids need you. Another day you turn down a new career opportunity because it would disrupt the family routine. Another year goes by and you look in the mirror and don't recognize the person staring back. Instead of seeing the vibrant, curious, passionate woman you once knew, you see a manager, a caregiver, an employee of the family. Efficient, dependable, but absent of spark. And here's the thing, a healthy marriage should not erase you. A strong partnership should make you feel more alive, more confident, more yourself, not less. Love is supposed to amplify your identity, not replace it with a list of chores. In marriages where identity loss takes over, women often tolerate it because they've been taught that sacrifice is noble, that being unseen is proof you're doing it right, that putting yourself last is what a good wife and mother does. But that belief is a lie, a dangerous one. The cost of losing yourself is too high. When you erase your identity for the sake of keeping peace or meeting expectations, you not only betray yourself, you also rob your family of the fullest version of you. Because the truth is, your children, your partner, your world, benefit most when you are whole. When you bring your full self to the table, with dreams, passions, opinions, and boundaries intact. So if you felt this regret, the regret of lost identity, know this. You are not selfish for wanting more. You are not ungrateful for wanting to feel like you again. You are human, and you deserve to be both a partner and a person, both a caregiver and a dreamer, both a wife and a woman who is fully alive. Regret of unequal partnership. Another heavy regret that women over 35 carry in marriage is the regret of living inside an unequal partnership. On the surface, many marriages look equal. Both partners may work. Both might say they share responsibilities. And the husband often believes that things are fair. But when you step inside the daily life of the marriage, you find a very different story. This is the story of invisible labor. Imagine her day. She wakes up early, gets the kids ready, maybe prepares breakfast, and makes sure everyone has what they need. Then she goes to her full-time job, gives her energy, her skill, her hours, just like her husband does. She finishes work, comes home, and the second shift begins. Cooking dinner, cleaning up, doing laundry, helping the kids with homework, managing the endless to-do list that no one else even sees, making doctor's appointments, buying birthday gifts, planning holidays, remembering school forms, checking in on aging parents. And then there's him, who proudly says he helps out by taking out the trash or loading the dishwasher once in a while. He truly believes he's doing his part. And when she dares to express exhaustion or frustration, he looks confused. "But I help around the house," he says. Here's the truth. She wishes she could scream, "I don't need help, I need partnership," because help implies that the responsibility is hers and he is simply lending a hand. But partnership means the responsibility belongs to both of them equally. It means he sees what needs to be done without being asked. It means he values her time, her energy, her mental load as equal to his. She doesn't want applause for doing it all. She doesn't want to wear the badge of the superwoman who juggles 10 plates while smiling through her exhaustion. She wants balance, she wants fairness, she wants to breathe. The danger of unequal partnership isn't just exhaustion, it's resentment. Every chore left undone, every responsibility left on her shoulders carries a hidden message. Your time matters less than mine, your energy matters less than mine, your well-being matters less than mine. Over the years, those messages stack up like bricks, slowly building a wall between her and her partner. The saddest part is that this imbalance is not just physical, it's emotional. She carries the mental weight of remembering everything, anticipating everyone's needs, organizing not only her life, but the lives of everyone around her. That invisible mental load is heavy, and when it goes unrecognized, it leaves her feeling unappreciated and unseen. But it doesn't have to be this way. In a healthy marriage, labor is divided consciously, not accidentally. It's communicated openly, not assumed, and it's valued equally, not dismissed as just what women do. A strong partnership means that both partners take full ownership of building a life together. It means when she is tired, he steps up without being asked. It means she doesn't feel like the manager of the household, with her husband as her assistant. It means they stand side by side, not one carrying the other on her back. So why do so many women tolerate this unequal arrangement? Because speaking up feels dangerous. They've been told for years that asking for more will make them sound like they're nagging. They don't want to be seen as ungrateful or demanding. They don't want constant fights. And honestly, many are simply exhausted from explaining what needs to be done. It feels easier to just do it themselves. And then there's society. Society normalizes men doing less at home. We hear it in jokes about lazy husbands. We see it in TV shows where the wife is the competent manager and the husband is the bumbling fool. We've been trained to laugh at it. But what we call funny on screen is often heartbreaking in real life. That's why so many women over 35 feel this silent regret. They realize they've been carrying the weight of two people while their partner thinks everything is fine. They realize the equality they dreamed of never really arrived. And deep down, what hurts most is not the chores themselves. It's the feeling of being undervalued. It's the feeling of being taken for granted. It's the sense that her partner doesn't fully respect her time, her energy, her humanity. But let's be clear, this is not how love is supposed to look. Real love notices. Real love steps in without being asked. Real love shares the weight equally because it understands that partnership is not about helping. It's about building a life together with equal responsibility, equal respect, and equal care. If you are a woman listening to this and you feel the regret of unequal partnership pressing down on your shoulders, I want you to know you are not wrong for feeling tired. You are not wrong for wanting balance. And you are not wrong for expecting fairness in the home you helped build. And if you are a man hearing this and you feel defensive or uncomfortable, good. Sit with that discomfort. Ask yourself, am I truly a partner or am I just a helper? Am I carrying my half of the weight or am I watching her carry both of ours? Because if the answer stings, then it's time to step up. Not with excuses, not with half efforts, but with full commitment. Because the truth is simple. Marriage is supposed to be a partnership, not a performance. And when one person carries the invisible labor while the other coasts, what you have is not a marriage, it's employment without pay. The regret of unequal partnership is real, it is heavy, and it is one of the most common sources of quiet suffering in women's lives. But it doesn't have to be permanent. With awareness, with honesty, and with true willingness to change, a marriage can shift from imbalance to equality, from resentment to respect, from exhaustion to shared strength. Regret of silenced voice. Another deep regret many women over 35 carry in marriage is the regret of losing their voice. At first, she spoke up. She had opinions, she had boundaries, she had needs. But over the years, those things began to shrink. Not because she stopped caring, but because every time she expressed them, she was punished. Not always with yelling, not always with open conflict. Sometimes the punishment was subtle, being ignored, being dismissed, being called dramatic or too emotional. Sometimes it was a heavy silence, sometimes it was an eye roll, sometimes it was a joke at her expense. But the message was always the same: your voice is inconvenient. Picture the pattern. He chooses the vacation spot every year. She suggests somewhere else, and suddenly she's difficult. He decides how the money is spent. She questions the budget, and she's ungrateful or negative. She raises a boundary, and he accuses her of making a big deal out of nothing. After enough experiences like this, she learns the painful lesson. Speaking up leads to conflict, so it's safer to stay quiet. And so she does. She becomes agreeable. She nods along. She keeps her thoughts to herself. She says, "It's fine," when it's not. She says, "Whatever you want," because she's too tired to argue. Outwardly, she looks calm, easygoing, accommodating, but inside, she's screaming. Because a silenced woman is not a peaceful woman. A silenced woman is a woman at war with herself. Her body carries the tension of all the unspoken words. Her chest tightens every time she swallows back her truth. Her mind races with what ifs. What if I had stood my ground? What if my voice mattered? What if I didn't have to shrink to be loved? This regret is heavy because it erases not just her words, but her sense of worth. When your partner dismisses your voice again and again, you begin to question whether your perspective has value at all. You start doubting your instincts. You lose trust in your own judgment. And slowly, you begin to disappear. Not physically, but emotionally. But here's the truth. Disagreement should not be dangerous. Conflict should not mean disrespect. In a healthy relationship, a partner doesn't just tolerate your voice, they seek it out. They want to know how you feel. They welcome your perspective, even when it's different from theirs. They understand that intimacy isn't built by silence, but by honest conversation. They see disagreement not as a threat, but as a doorway to deeper understanding. Sadly, many women tolerate this regret because they've been taught since childhood that keeping harmony is their role. From little girls, they were told to be polite, be nice, don't cause trouble. When they spoke their minds, they were often scolded for being too much, so they learned to stay quiet, to please, to accommodate. By the time they reach adulthood, silence feels like second nature, and society reinforces this. Women who speak boldly are labeled bossy, nagging, or controlling. Meanwhile, men who speak strongly are called leaders. This double standard conditions women to believe that their truth is dangerous, that their honesty is destructive, that their emotions are a problem to be managed rather than a reality to be respected. But let me tell you this clearly, your voice matters. Your feelings matter. Your boundaries matter. And if your marriage requires your silence to survive, then it is not a marriage built on love. It is a marriage built on control. Because real love doesn't fear your voice. Real love makes space for it. Real love says, "Tell me what you think. Tell me what you need. Even if I disagree, I want to understand you." So to the women listening who feel the ache of this regret, know this: you are not wrong for wanting to be heard. You are not dramatic for having emotions. You are not difficult for speaking your truth. You are human. And your voice is not a problem. It is your power. And to the partners who hear this and feel uncomfortable, ask yourself, do I silence my partner? Do I dismiss her feelings, minimize her concerns, or mock her emotions? If so, understand this. Every time you silence her, you don't just win an argument, you lose intimacy, you lose trust, you lose the very connection that makes love worth it. The regret of a silenced voice is not only about communication, it's about respect, it's about dignity, it's about whether a woman feels like a full, equal human being inside her own home, or whether she feels like a shadow of herself. The good news? This regret can be undone. It starts with courage, the courage to speak again, even if your voice shakes. It continues with accountability, the willingness of a partner to listen without defense, to value what they've been too blind to see. And it grows with practice, creating a new pattern where her truth is not just tolerated, but welcomed. Because a marriage without her voice is not a partnership, it's a performance. And no woman should have to spend her life performing silence just to be loved. Regret of settled dreams. Another regret that many women over 35 quietly carry in their marriages is the regret of giving up their dreams. When she was younger, her heart was full of vision. She dreamed of traveling the world, seeing new places, and experiencing life beyond her small circle. She imagined writing that book, starting that business, painting that canvas, or chasing that career she felt called to. Her dreams were alive, vibrant, and limitless. But somewhere along the road, those dreams were put away, like boxes stored in an attic, gathering dust. Not because she stopped caring about them, not because she lacked ability, but because marriage, family responsibilities, and the pressure to keep everything stable demanded she set them aside. Maybe her partner said, "We can't afford risks right now." Maybe he told her, "That's unrealistic," or "You should be grateful for what you have." Maybe he didn't say anything at all, but his silence or lack of encouragement spoke volumes. Slowly, she began to believe her dreams were luxuries she could no longer afford. But here's the truth. This regret isn't really about money. It's not even about practicality. It's about permission. Deep down, she regrets needing anyone's permission to live fully. She regrets waiting for someone else to validate her ambitions when she already knew they mattered. The grief of unlived dreams is one of the heaviest burdens a woman can carry. It's not like missing a vacation or a hobby. It's a deeper kind of ache, the ache of wondering who she could have been if she hadn't traded her passion for approval. It's the silent resentment that no spa day, no anniversary gift, no fleeting compliment can heal, because no gift from outside can replace the gift she was meant to give herself. In a thriving marriage, this doesn't happen. In a healthy partnership, both people cheer each other's ambitions, even when those ambitions are inconvenient. A strong partner doesn't just say, "Do what makes you happy." They make room for it. They sacrifice together. They adjust together. They grow together. Because love, real love, doesn't shrink life, it expands it. But too many women tolerate this regret. Why? Out of fear. Fear of being called selfish. Fear of destabilizing the family structure. Fear of taking attention away from their husband's career or their children's needs. Fear that chasing their own dreams will label them a bad wife or a bad mother. So they bury their desires under duty. They wear their sacrifice like a badge of honor, even while their soul feels starved. And society makes this worse. Women are praised for putting everyone else first. They're celebrated for sacrificing everything for their families. And while sacrifice can be beautiful when it's chosen freely, it becomes destructive when it's demanded or expected. A life built only on sacrifice eventually turns bitter, because you cannot pour from an empty cup, and you cannot live a full life while silencing the call of your own heart. What makes this regret especially painful is that time passes. Years slip away, and the older she gets, the harder it feels to revive those dreams. She looks back and wonders, what if I had tried? What if I hadn't let fear stop me? What if I had chosen differently? That grief is sharp because it isn't about losing something outside. It's about losing a part of herself. But here's the hope. Those dreams may be dusty, but they're not dead. They may be buried, but they're still alive inside her. Dreams don't expire, they wait. And the woman who regrets giving them up still has the power to take them back. If you are that woman, hear this. You are not selfish for wanting more. You are not ungrateful for craving something beyond family duties. You are not a bad wife for remembering that you are also a woman with a soul, a voice, and a purpose. Your dreams matter, not just because they fulfill you, but because they show the world the fullest version of you. And if you are a partner listening, ask yourself, do I encourage her dreams, or do I make her feel guilty for them? Do I cheer her on, or do I hold her back with my own fears? Because love is not about clipping wings, it's about giving them space to fly. The regret of settled dreams is real. It's heavy, but it is not permanent. Because even after decades, it is never too late to open those dusty boxes, pull those dreams back into the light, and breathe life into them again. Remember this: marriage is not meant to be the death of dreams. It is meant to be the soil where two people plant them, nurture them, and watch them grow. Regret of emotional loneliness. One of the most painful and least talked about regrets women carry in marriage is the regret of emotional loneliness. It's a strange kind of loneliness because she isn't physically alone. She lies in the same bed as her husband every night. She shares meals with him, lives under the same roof, maybe even raises children with him. To the outside world, she looks like a woman who has everything: stability, commitment, companionship. But inside, she feels a hollow emptiness that cuts deeper than physical solitude. She has not felt truly seen or emotionally held in years. The ring on her finger says committed, but her heart whispers unmet. It whispers, I am married, but I am starving. I am cared for in routine, but not in soul. I am partnered in name, but alone in spirit. This kind of loneliness is more dangerous than being physically single. Because when you're single, you expect some level of loneliness. You know you must find connection elsewhere. But when you're married, you're told you should feel complete. And when you don't, the pain is doubled. Not only are you lonely, but you feel guilty for being lonely. You feel like something is wrong with you for still feeling empty while having someone by your side. That is the silent cruelty of emotional loneliness in marriage. It tricks you. It tells you you should be satisfied while secretly starving you at the soul level. She remembers the early days of the relationship, when conversations flowed, when laughter came easily, when she felt heard and cherished. But now, years later, the silence between them is louder than words. Conversations are shallow, about bills, about chores, about logistics, rarely about feelings, rarely about dreams, rarely about fears. And when she tries to open up, he dismisses her, or he changes the subject. Or worse, he makes her feel like she's too much for needing deeper connection. So she stops trying. She shuts down. She goes quiet, not because she doesn't want to share, but because it hurts too much to keep reaching for someone who never truly reaches back. Over time, she begins to carry her own emotional weight alone. She cries silently in the shower so no one sees. She celebrates her victories quietly because there's no one who really wants to celebrate with her. She bottles up her fears because she knows they'll be minimized, and though she has someone next to her in bed, she has never felt more alone. A true partnership should not feel like this. A strong marriage is not just about sharing a house, it's about creating a home for the soul. A marriage should be an emotional refuge, a place where vulnerability is welcomed, where tears are safe, where joy is doubled because someone is there to feel it with you. It should be a place where you can show up as your raw, unfiltered self and still be loved. But for many women, this dream of emotional connection fades as the years go on. They stay because leaving a marriage over loneliness sounds trivial to outsiders. Who would understand? People would say, but he's a good provider. But he doesn't cheat. But he's not abusive. As if the absence of cruelty is the same as the presence of love. But outsiders don't feel the ache in her chest every night. Outsiders don't feel the sting of reaching for connection and finding a wall of indifference. Outsiders don't know the exhaustion of carrying every emotional need alone. That loneliness, that emptiness, is invisible from the outside, but it is unbearable on the inside. And here's the part most people don't realize. Emotional loneliness kills slowly. It eats away at joy. It drains self-esteem. It leaves her questioning her worth, wondering if she's asking too much, doubting whether intimacy is even possible for her. It makes her feel like a ghost in her own marriage. But let's be very clear. Wanting emotional intimacy is not too much. It is not weakness. It is not selfish. It is the very heart of human connection. Without it, marriage is nothing more than a contract, a business arrangement, a shared address. To the women living with this regret, I say this: your need for connection is real. Your longing to be seen, heard, and emotionally held is valid. You do not have to apologize for craving closeness, and you are not wrong for feeling lonely in a marriage that refuses to meet you emotionally. To the partners who may hear this, if your spouse feels emotionally lonely, it is not a small issue. It is not something to brush off. It is a warning siren. If you dismiss it, if you minimize it, if you continue to hide behind silence, you are not just neglecting your partner, you are slowly destroying the foundation of your marriage. The regret of emotional loneliness is a quiet one, but it is deadly. It can make even a long marriage feel like an empty shell. But the good news is this: it can be healed. With honesty, with vulnerability, with a willingness to sit in discomfort and truly listen, intimacy can return. Because at the end of the day, love is not just about being there in body, it's about being there in heart. And without that, a marriage is not love, it's just proximity. Regret of aging without appreciation. Another regret many women over 35 carry in marriage is the regret of feeling invisible as they age. When she was younger, she felt noticed, she felt wanted. Her partner gave her compliments, paid attention to her, and saw her as someone special. In those days, she believed that love would grow deeper with time, that as the years passed, he would value her wisdom, her strength, and the depth of their shared history. But instead, something else happened. As the years rolled on, the attention faded, the compliments stopped. The spark she once saw in his eyes when he looked at her began to dim. Slowly, she became background noise in her own home. And that cuts deeper than people realize. She invested the best years of her life into building his world, supporting his goals, raising children, keeping the home together, making countless sacrifices. She gave her youth, her energy, her heart. But instead of being cherished more with time, she feels less visible, less valued. She regrets giving so much of herself to someone who no longer treasures her for the woman she is today. This erosion of appreciation doesn't just wound the heart, it weakens the spirit. She begins to question herself. Am I still desirable? Am I still beautiful? Do I still matter? She starts doubting her worth, not because she has lost it, but because it goes unrecognized by the one person who should see it most clearly. But here is the truth: age is not decline, it is richness. A true partner should see aging not as something to endure, but as something to celebrate. Wrinkles are proof of laughter and survival. Gray hairs are signs of wisdom. Years together should make love more profound, not less. A real partner doesn't stop seeing you after the honeymoon phase. They see you more deeply as time unfolds. Sadly, many women tolerate this regret because society has fed them a dangerous lie: that a woman's value expires at 30, that youth is beauty, and everything after that is decline. This lie has been repeated so many times, on TV, in magazines, in casual conversations, that women begin to internalize it. They start to believe invisibility is inevitable. They lower their expectations. They accept the quiet fading of attention as something normal. But invisibility is not inevitable, and neglect is not normal. Aging should not erase a woman's value, it should highlight it. A partner who truly loves you should grow in admiration, not drift into complacency. They should see the years you've shared as proof of devotion, not as a reason to look past you. To the women who feel this regret, you are not invisible. Your beauty has not faded, it has deepened. Your worth has not expired, it has multiplied. And if your partner fails to see that, it is not because you lack value, it is because they lack vision. And to the partners listening, pay attention, notice her, appreciate her. Do not let the woman who gave you her best years feel unseen in her strongest ones, because nothing destroys intimacy faster than taking her presence for granted. The regret of aging without appreciation is heavy, but it can be changed. With awareness, with effort, with a return to gratitude, appreciation can come alive again. But it requires action, not silence. It requires seeing her, hearing her, valuing her every single day. Because love is not about youth, it's about devotion. It's not about fading beauty, it's about deepening connection. And when a woman feels truly appreciated as she ages, she doesn't just feel loved, she feels alive. Regret of mistaken forever. Realizing she chose marriage not out of deep compatibility, but out of pressure, fear, or timing. She was 32. Family kept asking, "When are you settling down?" He was good enough, so she said yes. Years later, she wonders what life could have been if she had waited for alignment instead of settling for approval. The regret isn't always about the man, it's about betraying herself. Living with a partner who feels more like a roommate than a soulmate drains her spirit and locks her in quiet despair. A strong marriage is built on shared vision, not societal deadlines. It's chosen freely, not under duress. But women tolerate it because divorce feels like failure, because starting over feels terrifying, because silence feels safer than shame. Why women stay silent? Women tolerate these regrets because of fear of judgment, fear of loneliness, fear of starting over. Because of the sunk cost fallacy. I've already invested 10, 15, 20 years. I can't walk away now. And because of normalization, we've been told this is just how marriage works, that suffering is the price of commitment. But silence doesn't heal, it corrodes. The split message. To the women carrying these regrets, you are not broken, you are not too demanding, you are not ungrateful. What you are feeling is valid, and you are not alone. To the partners who may hear this and feel uncomfortable, this is your wake-up call. Love isn't proven by a wedding day, it's proven by how you show up every day after. If your partner feels unseen, unheard, or unvalued, it's not just her issue. It's your responsibility too. So what do you do if you recognize yourself in these regrets? Name it out loud. The silence is the prison. Say it, write it, own it. Reclaim your identity. Start one practice, one hobby, one dream that is yours alone. Communicate without apology. Stop softening your truth to protect someone else's comfort. Redefine partnership. Have the hard conversations about labor, money, and dreams. Invest in yourself. Therapy, coaching, self-education, your growth is not optional, it's essential. Draw a line. Decide what is non-negotiable for your future. Staying in regret is optional. Choose courage. Whether that means rebuilding the marriage on new terms or walking away, courage will cost you, but regret costs more. Marriage should not be a slow erasure of self. Marriage should not be a life sentence of silence. Marriage should not be a cage you decorate with pretty photos. A healthy marriage is not the loss of freedom, it is the expansion of it. Not the death of your dreams, but the protection of them. Not invisibility, but amplification. And if you've lost yourself inside the walls of marriage, know this: you can still come home to yourself. Because regret is not the end of the story. Regret is the beginning of awakening. A marriage that costs you your identity is not love. It's a contract of silence. Break it or rewrite it, but never let it define the rest of your life.